Hey guys, and welcome back. This is Chosen Architect, and today we're jumping back into some more Create Astral. Today we're going to be automating the biofuel and getting ourselves, that's right, some plates to launch our rocket off of. Hopefully you guys are ready. So today we are starting off strong. We are jumping back into our quest as we prepare for more space travel. We're actually getting into space travel. And I do need to start off by getting ourselves fuel up and running. One of the first parts of the fuel, though, is automating either leaves, the production of leaves, or automating the harvesting of grass or some sort of thing like that. First and foremost, I want to also get seeds. Like, we need seeds up and running as well. So the best way to do that is by simply doing what I've got here. I just have another contraption, same as our tree farm that we made early on, and this will harvest all of the wheat as soon as it grows, and we'll end up putting it into that chest. And then later on, we're going to need these seeds for our future projects. Now, when this harvests, it will leave the plants, so we don't have to worry about replanting all the time, specifically with this type of farm. Now, I want to try to sort of automate this in a kind of a way. I'm going to still have to manually add shears and stuff to this farm. But what we have here is like a production line that inevitably leads over here to the actual biofuel itself, which will go into a solid canning machine, right? So we have to get through this step first. So the first step is going to be this, which we are going to have to provide bone meal. And I think the thing that we're going to have to provide to this farm to get it going is going to be seeds, and then we're also going to have to provide it some sort of grass, and then to get grass is going to be bone meal. So in reality, it'll just be bone meal and seeds that we'll need to provide this thing. So I might be able to set this up, and then we'll delegate these. We'll tell these, hey, this is going to be bone meal and this will be seeds, for example, and then we're going to try and fit this in this area over here. Now, the first things first, we need to set up the actual process of harvesting the leaves, right? I can always get the bone meal over, but we need to figure out where we're actually going to grow this. And I was thinking the grass, I'm going to set this up in like a 3 by 1 area, right? Utilizing grass blocks that we actually got from our quest line. So we ended up getting some grass blocks. Thankfully, I didn't have to wait for some to grow because I haven't gone through the process of getting silk touch yet. So let's just assume bone meal goes over here, and we have a belt line that we're telling our bone meal to end up at. So here's our grass. Now we also want our deployer. We want a deployer on top that is going to connect or is going to place the grass that goes down here. So let's place our deployer on top. And I'm going to place it right here. Needs a 1 block space in between. And this is going to simply place the bone mill down. That's what we want it to do. Now, we are going to need some other deployers that are going to need to do some different tasks for us, like shear the thing that is going to be right here. Now, I believe this has to be a little bit out for this to work. So this needs to be on its side. If I can actually get it there. Well, that's not where I want them, but maybe there we go. Okay. So I knew I'd get there eventually. But I think this is the direction that I need these to be facing. I need them to turn around. Yeah, and I think when this rotates, if we have it in hold mode, which will be like changing the mode when we give it some shears, you can see right here, it should use it on the block that is here. And then, so I need to connect the rest of these up and get them over to this area. Man, you can tell the mechanics of moving things around really gets in the way. Now, yeah, I don't know. These need to be in use mode. So you have to right click these to put them in use mode. And then you can see we can hand them shears or hopper shears in, or even belt shears in, really, if we needed to. But I think just putting a bunch of shears inside of some containers above it will last for quite a while. All right, so that's basically done. We need to provide bone meal. So we have the bone meal, we'll have it belted up and then into the back of this. And so that should bone meal here. Now we need a way to collect, and that's where these baskets are really going to come into clutch, right? These are really going to come in handy. We need to grab a couple of building blocks because I didn't bring any. Goofy me. I'm going to place these on the back like this. And these need to be placed out here like this, facing this way. Because this will actually pick up any item that's directly in front of it. So that should pick up the sheared material that we're going to have. And we're going to need these on all the sides, just like that. And hopefully this will work. This is a proof of, this will be end up being a proof of concept. So after sort of doing a test run, found out that I don't actually need these baskets at all because the deployers themselves collect these materials. And I didn't know that. I didn't know they actually collected the materials. But this actually changes everything now. So instead of using regular grass, I think what I'm going to do is make this a little easier on myself. And by doing this, I'm going to need to set up these trapdoors to contain water. We are going to be filling this area with water, meaning that only seagrass grows here. And so if seagrass is the one thing that is growing here, we won't have to worry about anything else, just maintaining the seagrass. And now, all on the other farm, we'll have to worry about other flowers and things like that. But for this, nothing at all. So I think I've got this. So we have the seeds that are running through here. The seeds are going to go in here and be pressed. The seeds are then going to turn into the seed oil, right? Now this is just doing the kelp, right? We have the kelp that is going to be growing here. And that is then going to be pushed along via conveyor belt into our basin right here that is also connected up to this pump. So seed oil is going to go in. We have this lined up just perfectly for our mechanical mixer. So the mechanical mixer will go on top of there. And so seeds going in. We have everything processed. That's processing. I have a thing set up so I can provide it bone meal back here. Everything looks to be going pretty darn good. Let's get this lined up here and get our belt going. And then the only thing we're going to need on the back side are the funnels that are pulling the items out. And these are going to pull the extra items out, not the shears that it currently has. And that's going to run to the belt and we'll end up inside here. And then we'll just have to specify the filter of the ingredients. That's going to get mixed up. Oh my goodness, this is all working. And all right, then we need to move to the next step. So with the proof of concept here, this is going to work. We just got to get everything powered and turn everything on. But that just makes paintballs. We're just to the step where we need seed oil and we need some sort of organic material right here. And then it's going to be heated. So we need to get this thing heated. Now, the best way I think to do this is just to provide it coal for right now, and this one not utilize lava. To get this going, we can use a deployer. And so we just will have the deployer right here. And we need to get it powered. We can power it directly from this that's going to be running. And then on the back, we'll just put a basic storage that's going to be back here. And let's see, I think I have them all in my inventory. A crude storage. And we'll just tell it to feed this coal. And that will continue to power this. Now the next step shows that it needs to be pressed 4 times in order for it to become a compressed ball. But also will have a 20% chance for salvage. Now I could just run this through 4 actual presses. That might be the way to go. Now for the press, after we get it all pressed up, we're going to need to collect the actual completed item and collect it here. And then everything else should be able to just go back, go into this this back container here, which once we figure out what the random stuff is we get from it, it'll make a little bit more sense and it allow us to figure out what we're going to do with that stuff. Because it's currently unknown. So it's going to go into here, and then I went ahead and made a compressor. The compressor is then going to pull the remaining items out. So at this point, we have the compressed. So we've just done this. And now our next step is going to be to compress it inside the compressor to get biomass. And once it's done compressing into biomass, we then need to wash it, it seems like. There's 2 different steps, though. we have this biomass pellet that I don't know what this is used for. It looks like it can burn items, so it's like a coal. Maybe we'll worry about that later, so we'll give ourselves a little bit of space to maybe split off. But the main thing we're going to want to do, I believe, is pure biomass, right? So we can put it into solid canning. So that means that we will hook up a shaft right into here. And this will allow us to send this, or be washed, allow us to wash this and send it into an inventory. And let's go ahead and get that inventory set up. So that inventory, well, it'll be washed right here, which means we are going to need a brass funnel that goes on here. The belt is going to hook up right here. And then this is just going to be pulled out utilizing a funnel. I think that'll work just fine. Of course, we do have to configure all the insides here. And then on this, we will have a washer underneath. So after plugging everything in, getting just about everything started, it's time to turn this on. So the only thing I haven't plugged in is this right here, the bone mill. So I hook that. You can see that has started. That has now sent everything over. We do need to provide it some seeds. So we'll just send the seeds over here. Oh, and this has not been plugged in yet either. So I do need to get that up and running. Oh, and I didn't get this plugged in. So here we go. Last but not least, that should go in. And we should have the items we now need, and that should start to get pressed. There we go. And now I don't quite know. There's the items that I definitely need. We need to specify that. If I can reach over here, we need to take these items. There we go. And place that in. So now that should only accept that and should put into here. And now I've got to get power to this compressor. And there we go. As you see, I have the cables plugged in and things are looking pretty good. Now this has gone in here. Now what exactly is needed for this? Okay, that turns into green dye. That is not what I'm needing. I think that happened to go in there on accident. So now that we have it filtered, it shouldn't go in there anymore. I guess this generates plant balls potentially. So that is going to run. Then after it's done with its process, it should end up right here. There you go. And that is going to be washed and lead into our next place where we're going to also need power and we're going to actually be canning our fuel. Wow. So I just got myself a solid canning machine crafted up, and this is going to be the last part of this little setup here. So literally, it's literally going to be providing us with the materials we need. And it was so close. We're so close. We were right here. I think what I'm going to use is a crude storage just to get the extra items just out of the way. But we do still need to provide this with a few things like cells. This will need empty cells in here. And then also this will need power. So we need to provide it with power as well. I think this slot right here, which I believe is configurable, is the slot that we need to say auto input from. Just like that. And that will generate the resources there, I think. It should complete our fuel. Yes, yes. Okay, so there you go. You can see it's taking the material and combining it together, and we get ourselves fuel. And it does look like it stacks, which is perfect. Huh, we're one step closer to going to space. Now, I almost forgot this last process says it's going to always produce sugar in bone mill on this process. However, it doesn't seem like it's actually doing that, but it did produce sugar this run, which means I need to definitely filter those things out, right? So in the production, it'll produce sugar in bone mill. So sugar, I need to put in here, and bone mill. And we need to make sure that we prevent this. We make a deny list, and we put this on here. And then we deny these from going into this machine, because it will go into the machine, and we do not want that to happen. So with that, we have one of the major pillars set up for going into space. Now, after this, we need to start thinking about steel. Steel is really, really important. Now, between last episode and this episode, I went ahead and started to process some coal. So down here, we have coal dust that's been running this whole time. So I had enough coal to hopefully get us to space. Now, the idea goal would be to automate this, but this is actually incredibly expensive to make. You're going to need a ton of iron, and you're going to need a ton of this coal dust to make some of the steel dust. Now, the steel dust is then going to be used in the process right here of making this this blast resistant concrete, right? Now, yeah, ignore this recipe because this is a little bit later. This is how you would make ingots of it. But this is what we need: lime dust, steel dust. We need some sort of concrete powder and water in just a regular heated setup. And then we can go ahead and make ourselves some concrete. Don't know if I want to automate this just yet. That might be something we do in the future. But for right now, we need to get this set up and start at least producing some steel. So over here, I do have an area for doing that. I have my heater. I have myself a basin set up that will allow me to mix these things together. Now, steel is the main part, right, that needs to be mixed together. And we're going to just use some coal to heat our furnace up and give it some dust and some iron and let it rip. So let's go ahead and get this started. So I can go ahead and toss in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 6 of these so we can at least get a recipe. I think this requires only 4. Let's make sure this is heated. Can max that out. And should be good. Oh, that is max. Oh, it doesn't let us stop putting it in. That's interesting. Okay, so there we go. We have our steel dust, and that's going to allow me to set this and lock it. So that way we can get a semi-automation going for this. So we'll have the insert on the side and auto input. Perfect. Now, on this side, we can go ahead and lock the recipe by just placing the recipe in the filter. Perfect. And then hopper it up. So we'll put iron over here and we'll put this over here. And that should be enough to get this started and start producing some steel dust for us. In the meantime, I need to do a little bit of mining. Oh yeah, by the way, I did do this as well. I totally forgot to mention that you guys have been asking in the comments, and I absolutely love reading the comments, by the way. Speaking of comments, leave a comment down below, something that you enjoyed in today's episode or something that you found confusing in today's episode. I totally love to read you guys' comments. But one of the comments is you guys were like, from the very start, you need to make that windmill spin. And I did. I'm using a windmill bearing, and it's not generating any power or anything, but I do have it up and running. I need to go back down into our mines real quick, and I need to grab a few things. One of those things is limestone. Yeah, I believe it's limestone I need. So I just made 2 crushing wheels, and we're going to need to combine that with some limestone that I'm going to mine up real quick. And we've got to get ourselves crushed limestone. And I believe I have some limestone right down here in the mines. If I remember correctly, I do have some over here. Aha! I managed to find it. So this can be found underground, so I'm going to try and grab as much of it as I can. And we're going to use this to make that concrete and hopefully make those plates. Even though there is a way, technically, there is a way that I could just buy these launch pads. Yes, there is a villager, a wandering trader, on the moon, and it does sell that. We found that out early on. So just as a means of temporary automation, let's go ahead and get this placed in. So I'll need all of this. We'll just go in here, and I will need the resulting stuff to end up inside just like that. Wow, that goes incredibly fast. All right, so now that I have the steel dust, let's go ahead and get our the first part of this set up. So it is going to be, I believe, and I'm gonna try and do this in order. So we'll have our concrete powder, and then 2 lime dust, and then the steel. So concrete powder, 2 lime dust, and then the steel. Toss that in, 2 lime, and then 3 steel. Perfect. And that's exactly what we need. Awesome. So now we should be able to feed it these. So that fluid has now been created. There is a whole bucket worth, and I should be able to pull that bucket out. And there we go. Now, we're going to need a bunch of this. So we need 16 of these to be able to make this. However, I don't know if I'm going to make it. And it says to make 2 of them, which is, of course, we need 1 for Earth, and we need 1 when we get there. So I want to see if we can't buy 1. We do need to make at least 16 of these blocks, though. To do that, I'm actually going to cast out right here into the basin. So we're going to be able to cast out into the basin with this fluid. So I should be able to put the fluid back in. First, though, let's actually make the fluid the recipe. And I'm going to be using a little special tool, a little special friend to actually help us automate this process. Now, I know this may be laughable looking, but this is how I'm actually setting this up. So we're going to set up a mechanical arm. The mechanical arm is going to pull from these. We're going to take the items from the depot and we're going to put them in here. Like, we should be able to set to deposit items in there. And it should recognize the filter and know what it needs to do and should be able to run once we start hoppering the items into here. I know it's very, very janky looking, but if we do concrete powder, oh, it's going to constantly keep putting it in. Put the lime dust, and then we put this in. Will it know that it needs... Yes, okay, so it is working. So there it goes, and then that's going to fill this up. And then all we have to do is put a hopper underneath with some sort of storage, and it's good. It's good. Oh my goodness. There we go. And we'll have this semi-automated, because this will be incredibly tedious to do by hand. This would be something that we definitely would not... I would not recommend doing by hand. You would just frustrate yourself to death literally trying to do this. Now, as far as sturdy sheets go, I did set this up a little bit ago. And it's just a press that's just running the press over and over again. And runs it back utilizing the same sort of method that we did before using the item vault. So this is actually very efficient and produces quite a bit of sturdy sheets in a really, really quick time. And just like that, I now have enough to complete the quest. So there we go. And we end up getting blast protection enchant for all that work. All right, so we're going to get ourselves launch pads. Now, it wants us to make 2, but we should be able to get away with actually just making 1. And I'll explain here in a moment. But I had to add the 4 corners onto this. But we should be able to make an X like that. And then fill this all in. And this should automatically jumpstart the craft once we have it placed in. There it goes. And voila. We have 1 part of this launch pad. So, where are we going to get the other one? Well, let's head to the moon. Now, I have all my emeralds, and I did move my portal, so we should take us right there. I wanted to get it out of the way, because it looked kind of odd just sitting out in the open. But right over there should still be there, I think, because I seen it the other day while we were out exploring in this world. But it should be right up here. The wandering trader. Aha! It is still there. It's crazy that it's still there, but it is still there. Right down here, I believe it is. Right there. Okay. This guy is crazy special. Crazy special, because look at this. 9 launch pads. 3 emeralds. We're buying. We're 100% buying. There's also an Ad Astra hammer. I don't know what that does. Some oxygen tanks. Another spacesuit. A flag. I don't know what the hammer does. I'm taking it, though. Might as well buy extra tanks. I'm just going to buy up the launch pads, though. Because these are crazy expensive. And very nice to have. Would this probably be an exploit? I don't know. But it does save me some time. And is really, really nice that we got those trades. Consider it like Terraria's journey mode, right? We got our first one, right? We got the item, and so long as you craft it the first time, you get an infinite supply of them afterwards, right? I feel like that's fair. So there you have it. Today we ended up getting ourselves some fuel automated, and we made ourselves the platform for which we will be launching our rockets from. My goodness. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video a huge thumbs up. Of course, it is time to thank the supporter of today's video. And that, my friends, is going to be a huge thanks going out to Boxster. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way. Over on the Discord, becoming a Discord premium member. And if you guys enjoyed this content yourself and would like to support, the best way to do that is via the Discord, but there's also a way to do it here via YouTube as well with the premium member system, and you do get the same perks over on the Discord as well. Also, check out my Twitch if you wouldn't mind. I do live stream over there, and I would love to hang out and chat with you guys over on Twitch. Twitch.tv/ChosenArchitect is where you can find me. And guys, I'll see you in the next episode. And as always, thanks for watching.